Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam.
Danda Didi. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Bol. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Tapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathan Vidamtam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Saganadita Shri Vishakhan Vitamsha Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sapadantikam Adadana Sram Dantayiridam Yache Punah Punah Shri Madhupadam Bhojatulisyam Janma Janmani Anarpita Charim Chirat Karnayavatirna Kalau Samarpayitu Unnata Rasam Bhakti Shriyam Hari Purta Sundaratyuti Kadamba Sandipitaha Sada Hridaya Kandare Swaratva Shachirandanaha Sansara Dukkha Jaradau Paritasya Kamaha Krodhadina Karamakai Kavali Kritasya Durvasana Nikaditasya Nirashrayasya Chaitanya Chandra Mama Dehi Padavalam Chaitanya Chandra Mama Kumbudam Vikasha Ruddham Vidhi Chintana Vringarangai Kincha Paradivram Dividam Viduya Padamritam Sadepaya Durgatam Mam सर्वप्रथम अस्मदे गुरुपाद पद्म नितिला पृष्ठ जगत गुरु श्री श्रीमद भक्तिदांत नारायण गोसाई महाराज दंडी स्वामी शिष्य भक्तिदांत दंडी महाराज नाम निष्ठ संत श्री अनिरुद्धास प्रभु जी और समस्त वैष्णव के चरणों में मैं था कि दंडवत प्रणाम अर्पण करता हूँ और उनकी कृपा की प्रार्थना करता हूँ. So today is we are celebrating disappearance day of Srila Haridas Thakur. And very auspicious day. And also this week is full of festivals. Also, I think the appearance day of Bhaktivinoda Thakur was yesterday, and today is also, I think, disappearance day of Srila Haridas Thakur. So we are studying now chapter 2, Adi Leela, text number 6, 7, 8, 9. They are all grouped together. Brahmatma Bhagavana Anuvada Tina Anga Prabha Amsha Swarupa Tina Vidhe Chinna Anuvada Age Pache Vidhe Stapan Sei Artha Kaishuna Shastra Vivaran Swayam Bhagavana Krishna Vishnu Paratattva Purna Jnana Purnananda Parama Mahatva Nanda Sutta Bali Jare Bhagavate Gai Sei Krishna Avatirna Chaitanya Gosai. So these all Bengali verses. Impersonal Brahma. Brahma means the impersonal Brahma, Brahma Jyoti. Atma means the localized Paramatma. So here the word Atma can be used to indicate the minute living entity and also Paramatma. But here, in this context, Atma is used as Paramatma. Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead. Bhagavan means Bhagavan Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Bhagavan Nityananda Prabhu, Bhagavan Balaram, Bhagavan Krishna, Bhagavan Vaman Dev, they are all Bhagavan. But Swayam Bhagavan is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Krishna. And Anuvad, subjects. Here Anuvad means translation, but also means subjects. Teen, these are three. There are three actually. Anga Prabha, bodily effulgence. Now, Anga Prabha, the impersonal Brahma is the Anga Prabha, the bodily effulgence of Krishna. And the Paramatma is the Amsha, partial manifestation. And Bhagavan is the original form, Swarup of Krishna. Understand? So, Tina means three. Vidhe Chinna, they are predicates. Impersonal Brahma, the localized Paramatma, and the personality of Godhead are three subjects. And the glowing effulgence, the partial manifestation, and the original form are their three respective predicates. So these are all these explained here actually, predicates. So Brahma, Paramatma and Bhagavan. So you can see here that impersonal Brahma, the localized Paramatma and the personality of Godhead are three subjects. And the glowing effulgence, the partial manifestation and the original form are their three respective predicates. So text 7 says, Anuvad aage pache vidheya sthapan sahi artha kahi shuna shastra vivaran. Anuvad, the subject, aage, first, pache, afterwards, videya, the predicate. Sthapana, placing, say this, artha, the meaning, kahi, I speak. Shuna, shastri vivaran. Please listen to the description of the scriptures. A predicate always follows its subject. Now I shall explain the meaning of this verse according to the revealed scriptures. Swayam Bhagavan Krishna Vishnu Paratattva Purna Jnana Purnananda Parama Mahatva. Swayam means himself, Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Vishnu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna or Vishnu. Vishnu of all pervading, Vishnu, Paratattva, the ultimate truth, Purna Jnana, full knowledge, Purna Ananda, full bliss, Parama, supreme, Mahatva, greatness. Krishna, the original form of the personality of Godhead, is the summum bonum of the all pervading Vishnu. Krishna is the original form of the personality of Godhead. Means Krishna is in India. There is a lot of people they say that, oh, Krishna is the eighth incarnation of Vishnu. Why you are worshipping Krishna? Then why not worship Vishnu? So we definitely worship Krishna because he is the original form of the personality of Godhead. See, a lot of people they ask, Maharaj, we have some economic issues, financial problems. So they say that how to become rich. So I heard a story that Puranas are full of stories that there is one people tree in India. People tree you might have seen. It has the heart-shaped leaves. The Ashwatha is also called Ashwatha tree. This Ashwatha tree has heart-shaped leaves. Very distinct leaves actually. Very, very big people trees you can see that here. I'm seeing. You can see that heart-shaped leaves, big leaves. People tree. This tree is very dear to Lakshmi Narayan apparently. Because Bhrigu Muni had a daughter by the name Lakshmi, goddess of fortune. But she also had an elder sister by the name Daridra Devi, means poverty. So younger sister wanted to get married to Vishnu, but how can younger sister get married unless elder sister gets married? In India, younger sister cannot get married till the elder is married. But no one wanted to marry Daridra Devi. Who wants to marry poverty? Understand? So she was not getting married. So there was a great sage by the name Uddalaka. This Uddalaka, he said, okay, if no one is marrying Daridra Devi, then I will marry Daridra Devi. Understand? So Uddalaka said, okay, I will marry Daridra Devi. Daridra Devi apparently, she is also poverty. Poverty. She is the goddess of misfortune. Understand? She's called the goddess of misfortune. Her picture is also I seen on YouTube. Actually, I see her. She is the goddess of misfortune. Actually, so she's also goddess. She's the elder sister of Lakshmi. Very, very poor. So no one wanted to marry Lakshmi or Daridra Devi. Uddalak said, okay, if Narayan is going to marry younger sister, I will marry the elder sister. I will become brother-in-law of Narayan. Understand? Because we are marrying two sisters, so both marrying each sister, so I'll get some relationship with Narayan either way. So he accepted the hand of Daridra Devi. Then he brought her to his ashram. In ashram, they were doing fire sacrifice, Agnihotra, like Shripad Dandi Maharaj does. And also they had Goshala and cows were very happily mowing and all, Then immediately Daridra Devi said, go, stop this. Immediately close the Goshala, don't serve the cows. No fire sacrifice should be there because these things will invite Lakshmi. and I am Alakshmi, I am Daridra Devi. So as long as cows are served, fire sacrifice is done, Agnihotra is done, Lakshmi will come. So please stop this. So Uddalak said, how can we stop this? This is how our Gurukul runs, this is how our ashram runs. So they said, we'll not stop this, but you don't stay in the ashram. Then she said, I'm not going back to my father's home also. Then he said, okay, you stay underneath the banyan tree. So now that Daridra Devi started staying under the people tree, Ashwatha tree. So she was crying because she said she was crying because she left her father's home and husband is also not keeping her at the home. So obviously the younger sister, Lakshmi, felt great compassion on the elder sister, Daridra Devi, and she came with her husband to meet her on Saturday. So Sunday, Daridra Devi was kept underneath the banyan tree, means the people tree, Ashwatha tree. So Sunday you are not supposed to touch that people tree. If you touch the people tree on Sunday, you will become very poor. But Saturday, Lakshmi Narayan come there to meet their sister, the Daridra Devi, sister of Lakshmi. And that's why on Saturday, if you offer some milk on jaggery or ghee, jaggery and milk mixed together, or if you don't have anything, at least water, and touch the banyan tree, this people tree, you will become rich. That is what I heard. So the point here is actually some devotees, they are very worried how to. Then they will never be poor actually. They'll never be poor. There are many other ways also of becoming rich, but this is one of the ways I heard. Anyway, we want spiritual wealth. So Krishna, the original form of the personality of Godhead, is the summum bonum of the all-pervading Vishnu. He is all perfect knowledge, all perfect bliss. He is the supreme transcendence. So here, Nandasuta Bali Jare Bhagavate Gai Sei Krishna Avatirna Chaitanya Gosai. Nandasuta, the son of Nanda Maharaj, Bali, Janre who Bhagavate in Srimad Bhagavatam. In Srimad Bhagavatam, he is glorified as the son of Nanda Maharaj. Sei Krishna, that same Krishna, Avatirana, descended Chaitanya Gosai as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Descending means one who's coming from above. That's why it's called avatar. Avatarati iti avatara. Understand? In Sanskrit, the word avataran means descending. Descending means avataran. Avarohanam. Arohanam, avarohanam in Sanskrit. Actually, I was very pleased to see that Google added Sanskrit in their translation. And I got some verses, I pasted some verses, and I got good English from just Sanskrit. And I'm really thank Google for this. They're encouraging Sanskrit. Because at least people will, try to learn a little bit Sanskrit. They have put some Sanskrit in their translator. Understand? Previously there was no Sanskrit language, but I was thinking that why, just like I says, translation is that he whom Srimad Bhagavatam describes as the son of Nanda Maharaj has descended to earth as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Bhagavatam has told about the son of Nanda Maharaj. Nandam kimakorot brahma shreyo mahodaya yashodacha mahabhaga papo yasya sanam nari nandastva atmajam utpanne jata lado mahamana. These are all things in Bhagavatam. That Nanda Maharaj begot a son. But same son of Nanda Maharaj appeared in Kali Yuga as the son of Jagannath Mishra, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Sanskrit says, Yam Shrimad Bhagavata Varnayati Nanda Maharaja Putra Sa Bhagavata Chaitanya Tvena Pruthivyam Avtarat. It may not be very accurate, but gives some idea actually. What would be the Sanskrit of it? Understand? So, according to the rules of rhetorical arrangement for efficient composition in literature, a subject should be mentioned before its predicate. The Vedic literature frequently mentions Brahma, Paramatma, and Bhagavan, and therefore these three terms are widely known as the subjects of the transcendent understanding. But it is not widely known that what is approached as the impersonal Brahma is the effulgence of Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's transcendental body. Nor it is widely known that the Supersoul Paramatma is only a partial representation of Lord Chaitanya, who is identical with Bhagavan himself. Therefore, the descriptions of Brahma as the effulgence of Lord Chaitanya, the Paramatma as his partial representation, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna is identical with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, must be verified by evidence from the authoritative Vedic literature. So actually, साहित्य कुशरचनार्थम अलंकार व्यवस्था नियमानुसारम तस्य विधेयस्य पूर्वम कस्यचित् विषयस्य उल्लेखः करणीयः. So here, before you mention the predicate, you must mention the subject. Vishay should be mentioned first. So Brahma, Paramatma and Bhagavan, these are the Vishay. They are the Vishay. And the predicate is Brahma is the bright effulgence of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's body. Paramatma is a plenary portion of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Bhagavan is the identical with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The author wants to establish first that the essence of the Vedas is the Vishnu Tattva, the absolute truth, Vishnu, the all-pervading Godhead. So what is the Vedas? Vedesha sarver ahameva vedyo. Vedesha sarver ahameva vedyo. So the author, he wants to establish that the essence of the Vedas is Krishna. To know Krishna is the real learning of the Vedas. The Vishnu Tattva has different categories, of which the highest is Lord Krishna, the ultimate Vishnu Tattva, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita and throughout the Vedic literature. So in Bhagavad Gita also confirmed that there are many manifestations of Vishnu. Dattatreya is also Vishnu, Vaman is also Vishnu. Nityananda is also Vishnu Tattva, Advaita Acharya is also Vishnu Tattva. Parshuram is also Vishnu Tattva. But Krishna is the highest. Understand? Although the Vishnu Tattva has different categories, Lord Krishna is the highest. Mattah partaram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya mai sarvam idam protam sutre mani gana eva. In Srimad Bhagavatam, the same Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna is described as Nanda Suta, the son of Nanda. Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami says that Nanda Suta has again appeared as Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Understand? So Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami has confirmed that the son of Nanda Maharaj, he again appeared in Kali Yuga. Understand? As Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Bhajo bhajo bhai Chaitanya Nitai Sudruda Vishwasa Kori. So we should have complete faith that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna. The son of Nanda Maharaj is actually Krishna. We should have this complete faith in that. So here, Brahma, Paramatma and Bhagavan, these are three Anuvad. Angakanti, Angsha and Swarup, these are three Videya. पहले अनुवाद और बाद में विधेय की स्थापना करते हुए मैं उनके शास्त्र सम्मत अर्थ प्रस्तुत करता हूँ. So first विषय और अनुवाद is mentioned, then विधेय और predicate is mentioned. So this is very, very clear here. And he bases his statement on his understanding that the Vedic literature concludes there is no difference between Lord Krishna and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This the author will prove, if thus proved, that Krishna is origin of all tattvas, namely Brahma and Paramatma and Bhagavan, and that there is no difference between Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Understand? So there is no difference between Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Understand? But there is some difference. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is more magnanimous. Understand? This is actually in Vishnu Sahasranam also tells that. Vishnu Sahasranam says, Anantaropo Anantashrir Jita Manyur Bhayapaha Chatusro Gaviratma Vidisho Vyadisho Disha. Like every morning, there's a temple in front of our preaching center in Tirupati. Then Subba Lakshmi, very reputed singer, she sings Vishnu Sahasranam. Anantaropo Anantashre Jita Manyur Bhayapaha Chaturasro Gaviratma Vidisho Vyadisho Disha. Is how she sings. So when Brahma stole the cows and covered boys, Lord Krishna expanded himself into innumerable forms, just like those of the stolen cows and boys. Understand? Because Brahma is very worried. Brahma stole the cows and covered boys. Krishna is worried what to do now. Their mothers, fathers will ask, cows will ask, where are our cows? Mothers will ask, where are our children? So he expanded. That's why it's called Ananta Rupa. And thus manifested his unlimited power and opulence, Ananta Shri. So here, Ananta Rupa, Ananta Shri. And even though Brahma tried to create mischief by stealing Krishna's associates, Magnanimous Krishna did not become angry with him. Jita Manyu. Manyu means anger. And Jita Manyu. Jita Manyu means not angry. And this is how Krishna is so merciful. Actually, today I saw an article by Srila Gurudev. And Srila Gurudev was telling, criticize and lose the holy name. Don't criticize the Vaishnavas and don't be... Gurudev is telling, joking and laughing, we somehow disrespect or criticize Vaishnavas. The holy name, who is God himself, cannot tolerate this. Therefore, we deceive ourselves and we are deprived of the real fruit of chanting the holy name. So we don't joke with the Vaishnavas, don't look down upon them. Otherwise, you'll lose the holy name. Gurudev is telling here. So Krishna is Jita Manyu. He didn't become angry with Brahma, although he stole his cows and covered boys. And when frightened Brahma begged for forgiveness, Lord Krishna removed all his fears. Bhayapaha. Bhagavan is called Bhayapaha. Means he removes the fear. When Lord Krishna expanded into many forms to replace his stolen friends, immediately accepted each of the elderly gopis as his mother. Chaturastra. Lord Krishna's thoughts and intentions are so unlimitedly profound and inscrutable that even Lord Brahma, after offering prayers and apologies, couldn't understand whether Krishna had accepted his apologies or remained dissatisfied with him. Gaviratma. So, Gaviratma means like very, very fathomless. Heart is like fathomless ocean. Cannot figure out what's going on. Very, very serious. Because Brahma had interrupted Krishna's pastimes with his friends, Krishna became displeased with him and asked him to leave the area of Gokul. So the activities of Vrajabhumi could continue undisturbed. Avidisha. On many different occasions, Lord Krishna entrusted Brahma with various responsibilities in the management of the universe and gave him specific instructions in this regard. Vyadisha. Vyadisha. Because Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and ultimate controller of everything, he does not have to follow anyone's order. Adisha. So all these are names of Krishna in Vishnu Sahasranam. Adisha, Vyadisha, Avidisha. But unless you study the commentary by Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan Pada, how can we understand? Anantaropo Anantashre Jita Manyur Bhayapaha Chaturasro Gaviratma Vidisho Vyadisho Disha. So you can see that Krishna is so powerful. Krishna is very, very powerful. Anyways, there is so much nectar in Bhagavatam, Charitamrita. So, this the author will prove. It is thus proved that Shri Krishna is the origin of all tattvas, truths, namely Brahma, Paramatma and Bhagavan, and that there is no difference between Shri Krishna and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It will not be difficult to understand that Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also the same origin of all tattvas, the same absolute truth as he is revealed to students of different realization is called Brahma, Paramatma and Bhagavan. Vadanti tattva vidas tattvam yad jnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti shabdate. that the same absolute truth is known by three names: Brahma, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Understand? So there is no difference between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and, but there is some difference because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is more merciful. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is more merciful than Krishna. You can see in Vishnu Sahasranam also, you'll see the names of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are mentioned actually. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's names must be mentioned actually. So here, in 75th verse of Vishnu Sahasranam comes. Trisama Samaga Sama Nirvanam Veshajam Visha Sannyasa Krishyama Shanto Nishta Shanti Parayana. Appearing as Lord Vyasadeva, Lord Krishna divided the Veda into three parts, three Sama. There was only one Veda, but he divided it into three parts. Samved, Rigved, Yajurved. Lord Vyasa took pleasure in singing the Vedic hymns, Samaga. So this name applies to Vyasadeva. Vyasa is also incarnation of Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes, the Vyasa was Vrindavan Das Thakur. And he taught those hymns to his disciples, Sama. So Vaishampayan and Jaimini, these are all disciples of Vyasadeva. They learned the Vedas from Vyasadeva. So he's called Sama. Freeing them from ignorance and liberating them from material bondage, Nirvanam. He bestowed Nirvanam by teaching the Vedas to his disciples. In this way, he became the physician that administered the medicine of Lord Krishna's devotional service, which freed them from the disease of material ignorance, Veshajam. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Vyasadeva, they are actually doctors. They give the transcendental knowledge. Nityananda Prabhu also, and our Gurudev also, Shripad Dandi Maharaj also. They are actually doctors because they free us from the disease of material ignorance by giving us knowledge. So, in his pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, Krishna accepts the sannyas order, sannyasakra. He is equipoised, sama, and peaceful, shanta. He is the highest abode of peace and devotion, for he silences the impersonalist, non-devotees, nishtha shanti paraya. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is to silence the impersonalist, non-devotees. So you can see that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's names are mentioned in this Vishnu Sahasranam commentary. Understand? So there is no difference between Lord Krishna and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This the author will prove. If it is thus proved that Lord Shri Chaitanya, Lord Shri Krishna is the origin of all tattvas truths, namely Brahma, Paramatma and Bhagavan, and there is no difference between Shri Krishna and Lord Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it will not be difficult to understand that Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also the same origin of all tattvas. The same absolute truth as he is revealed to students of different realization is called Brahma, Paramatma and Bhagavan. So Prakasha Visheshateha Dharit Tinanam Brahma Paramatma Raswayam Bhagavan. He is a Prakash of the manifestation, Vishesha in variety. Teha, he, Dhare, holds. Tina, three Nama names, Brahma, Paramatma and Bhagavan. Paramatma means the super soul, and Swayam Bhagavan, the supreme personality of Godhead. In terms of his various manifestations, he is known in three features known as the impersonal Brahma, the localized Paramatma, and the original personality of Godhead. Srila Jiva Goswami explained the word Bhagavan in his Bhagavad Sandarbha. The personality of Godhead being full of all inconceivable and inconceivable potencies is the absolute supreme whole. Impersonal Brahma is a partial manifestation of the absolute truth, realized in the absence of such complete potencies. The first syllable of the word Bhagavan is Bha, which means sustainer. Bha Bha means sustainer and protector. The next letter G means leader or pusher and creator. Va means dwelling. All living beings dwell in the Supreme Lord, and the Supreme Lord dwells within the heart of every living entity. Combining all these concepts, the word Bhagwan carries the import of inconceivable potency in knowledge, energy, strength, opulence, power, and influence. Devoid of all varieties of inferiority. Without such inconceivable potencies, one cannot fully sustain or protect. Our modern civilization is sustained by scientific arrangements devised by many great scientific brains. We can just imagine, therefore, the gigantic brain whose arrangement sustain the gravity of the unlimited number of planets and satellites, and who carries the unlimited space in which they float. If one considers the intelligence needed to orbit, there is no reason to believe that all the gigantic planets float in space without the superior arrangement of a superior intelligence. This subject is clearly dealt with in Bhagavad Gita 15.33, 15.13, where the personality of God, it says, I enter into each planet and by my energy they stay in orbit. Gamma Vishja Bhutani Dharayami Amodasa Pushnami Choshari Sarva Soma Bhutva Rasatmaka. Where the planets not held in the grip of the personality of Godhead, they would all scatter like dust in the air. Modern scientists can only practically explain this inconceivable strength of the personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna. So, we discussed today very important verse actually. Brahma, Paramatma and Bhagwan, how they are manifestations of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu only. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is source of Brahma, Paramatma and Bhagwan. Hare Krishna. So, we'll carry on in next class. Thank you so much. This is actually very wonderful topic here. Sanskrit. Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj has done a very good job by translating these books into English language, so we can understand these wonderful books. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Anyone, any questions, comments? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat pranams. Thank you for that beautiful class.
Uh,
In the beginning, you mentioned about japa and blaspheming devotees, and it's really made me understand. Because we think why these days that we can't do japa, and now know the reason why. So maybe even mentally, we think ill about somebody, and that makes sense. So thank you for that.
yeah, actually, the criticism is not encouraged because Satam Ninda Namna Parama Paradam Vitanute. So, criticizing Vaishnavas is the biggest offense against the holy name. Sometimes Vaishnavas may have faults. Obviously, everyone has some faults. But not that we have to mention them. Guru Vaishnavas will correct them. We have to be merciful like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. His name is mentioned in Vishnu Sahasranam. Suvarna Varna Hemangu Varangas Chandanangani. Viraha Visama Shunyo Dhrutashir Achalaschala. Lord Krishna appeared as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and in his early pastimes he appears as a household with a golden complexion, Suvarna Varna and Hemanga. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in householder life. He had golden complexion. So Suvarna means gold. He had golden complexion. His limbs are beautiful. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's limbs are very beautiful. And his body is smeared with the pulp of sandalwood. Seems like molten gold, Chandanangadi. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's body is smeared with pulp of sandalwood. It looks like molten gold. Lord Krishna kills lust, greed, and all other enemies of his devotees. It's called Viraha. So we don't have to worry about lust, greed, and other enemies. We keep on chanting Hare Krishna mantra. Automatically, Krishna will come and kill all these our enemies. No one is equal to or greater than Lord Krishna, who protects the devotees and kills the demons, Vishama. Lord Krishna is freed from all material defects, and he made the entire world inauspicious for the demons and atheists. Shunya. He grants all auspiciousness to his devotees, Vritashi. He was unmoving in his determination to protect the Pandavas from all dangers, Achala. In order to keep the promise of his devotee Bhishma, he broke his own promise not to take up any weapon in the Kurukshetra war. Chala. So many names of Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are there in Vishnu Sahasranam. Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranam Tattulyam Rama Nambarani. 1,000 names of Vishnu equal to one name of Ram. So you cannot even say Vishnu's name, you can just say Ram, 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 Ram. That is also be very, very helpful. Understand? So, very, very auspicious day today. Shri Haridas Thakur disappearance day. Haridas Thakur used to chant 3 lakh holy names. Gurudev said sometimes even 4 lakhs, 5 lakhs also. In month, used to chant 100 lakh holy names. So in 30 days, he must chant 3 lakhs, 4 lakhs, or even 5 lakhs every day, so that he can reach 100,000, 100 lakh. So that is his target actually. So he was always chanting the holy name, although born in Muslim family. So we should learn from Shri Haridas Thakur. Although he was beaten in 22 marketplaces, he never complained and he kept on chanting. So Lord will certainly protect us if we want to chant like Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Didi. Vanchakalpatarvesya kripa sindhu Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo. What is our next class?
Today's Friday. Sunday, Bhagavad Gita as it is, Maharaj. Sunday.
Okay. So please, I think the shloka will be second chapter, I think. And we'll carry on then Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is also very good scripture. So I'll read actually from Bhagavad Gita, Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, and try to understand the meaning of Bhagavad Gita, which is the ABCD of Bhakti, but still alphabets also very, very important. Our foundation should be very strong. Then Bhakti, we will be able to perform Bhakti properly. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Vaishnavabhyo
Krishna. Thank you so much.
Now question is coming, the Brahmana. There is actually a message is coming that the Brahman really lose his nose who offended Sagar Thakur and then regain the nose. Yeah, this is actually there is actually Haridas Thakur's life. This story happened. Haridas Thakur once went to the house of Shri Raghunath Das Goswami, if I remember correctly. And there Haridas Thakur, he told that Namabhas can bestow liberation. There is no need of chanting Shuddha Nam also. Even Namabhas, the semblance of the holy name, will bestow liberation. But there was a Brahman, and that Brahman, Gopal Chakravarti, I think, he said to Haridas Thakur that if Namabhas does not give liberation, I'll cut your nose. And if Namabhas doesn't bestow liberation, then I'll cut your nose. And if Namabhas bestow liberation, you can cut my nose. And Haridas Thakur said, no, don't worry. If Namabhas cannot bestow liberation, I'll cut my own nose. You don't have to intervene. If Namabhas cannot bestow liberation, then I will cut my own nose. I have so much faith in Namabhas. And then he argued like this. Then Govardhan Majumdar, Hiranya Majumdar, the father and uncle of Raghunath Goswami, became very angry with Gopal Chakravarti. He said, "What nonsense! You offended such a great devotee, is always chanting the holy name. He is so close to Sri Advaita Acharya. Namacharya Haridas Thakur, you offended him." As a result of this offense to Haridas Thakur, Gopal Chakravarti lost his nose, which was like sesame flower. Sesame flower I have not seen. But in India, the anyone's nose actually is given the is compared to the sesame flower. Understand? Now here I can see some sesame flower here out here. Pretty, very pretty actually. So that Brahmana's nose was like a sesame flower. But because he offended Srila Haridas Thakur, it just melted. It melted. And melting of the limbs is not quite uncommon actually, because there is a leprosy colony right next to where we stay. And leprosy is dwindling now, but still there is leprosy is there actually. And really, those who are having leprosy, they actually their nose. I can see here that one lady. A picture is depicted here actually. That this is a lady actually who got leprosy. You see, got leprosy actually. And her nose, you can see, her hands, you can see, they're just melting actually. Means after some time, it's very difficult to do day-to-day activities because your fingers, they just become lump of flesh, and nose also becomes like this. Understand? A very serious disease actually. Indian government took very serious measures to eradicate this disease. And neem actually acts very good for this. But these bacteria, viruses may be the cause, but actually Gopal Chakravarti's nose melted because of his offense to Haridas Thakur. He was struck by a very severe attack of leprosy. Vaishnava Aparadhi is so serious. But when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas, then he came to Navadvip. He came to the place called Aparadh Bhanjan Pat, wherever Devananda Gaudiya Math is situated. Devananda Gaudiya Math is our math which is established by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada's dear disciple Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj. Now this Devananda Gaudiya Math, Srila Gurudev actually got it renovated and he improved the guest house and many things. Srila Gurudev did that. Although started by Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj and Gurudev carried on that work. So there is Devananda Gaudiya Math. There are 9 shikharas. These 9 shikharas, and these are actually the represent the Navavidha Bhakti. Understand? And this particular matha is located in that place called Aparadh Bhanjan Pat. So the question is that the exact place of our matha? But I think that entire area, even the Keshaji Gaudiya Math, where new math is situated, all that area is called Aparadh Bhanjan Pat. In fact, the entire that area is very much famous as Aparadh Bhanjan Pat, where all the offenses are forgiven. Understand? So it is very, very important that we visit this parikrama, Navadvip Parikrama. I have not myself gone to Navadvip Parikrama for a long time. So here Srila Gurudev says that above all the arched gateway, on each side are 2 powerful lions on the heads of 2 mad elephants. The mad elephants signify Vaishnava Aparadh. Understand? So like you go to the Devananda Gaudiya Math, then you see Narahari Toran. Narahari Toran. This Narahari Toran is actually the, you can see here, Narahari Torana. There is Narahari Toran. That is actually a big arch, and we are entering to the arch. And you can see on the top, there is some lion. Understand? And he's devouring the cranial globes of the elephant, the head of elephant, devouring the elephant. So these elephants signify the Vaishnava path. Understand? And so Srila Gurudev is telling here that the mad elephants signify Vaishnava path. Shri Jagai and Madhai stand on each side below as doorkeepers, and on the inside of the gate are Shri Devananda Pandit and Vasudev Vipra, who proclaim the glory of Kuliya, Aparadh Bhanjan Path, the place where offenses are destroyed. Because Shri Devananda Pandit had also committed offense to Shivas Pandit unknowingly. Because Shivas Pandit was hearing Harikatha of Devananda Pandit, Bhagavatam recitation. He felt ecstasy and his disciples just chucked him out, threw him out, which is a great offense. As a result, Devananda Pandit became an offender. And this Vipra, Vasudev Vipra, also became an offender because he had actually offended Sri Haridas Thakur. But their offenses were destroyed here. Sri Devananda Pandit had committed an offense to the lotus feet of Shivas Pandit, but later repented by the mercy of Pundrik Vidyanidhi. Pundrik Vidyanidhi is incarnation of Shri Vrishabhanu Maharaj, and Pundrik Vidyanidhi gave him good association and taught him the importance of Srila Shivas Pandit. So he asked forgiveness from Shivas Pandit's lotus feet. So he begged for forgiveness at Shivas Pandit's lotus feet, whereupon Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also forgave him. By the mercy of Shri Nityananda Prabhu, such extremely offensive persons as Jagai and Madhai also became perfect devotees. Vasudev Vipra obtained darshan of Gaurasundar here by the mercy of Shri Koladev. So Vasudev Vipra actually also had darshan of Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu here by the mercy of Shri Koladev. Koladev means Varahadev. So Gopal Chakravarti apparently was also forgiven here in this same place. So certainly Aparadh Bhanjan part actually is a place where all the offenses are destroyed. Understand? So in Navadvip Dham is the place renowned as a place where every kind of offense is vanquished. So there is still our hope for this, because if we have committed offense knowingly or unknowingly, then we go there. So Gurudev says Shri Koladip. Koladip includes such places as Ganga Prasad, Samudragad, where King Samudra Sen was living, Champakhatta, where Champaklata Sakhi was collecting flowers of Champa flowers. Champa is actually very wonderful flowers actually. They are white and red. Champak flowers, white and red, and some maybe yellow also I'm seeing here. But generally in India, we have white variety and the red variety actually. The trees, branches are very fragile, very, very delicate, so you cannot climb on it. But you have to stand on the ground and pluck the trees, pluck the flowers. These champak flowers actually. Champa or champak, as you call it. Red champak is there, white is there. But I am seeing that in some countries may have also even the Mechalia champak. Mechalia champak apparently is pink in color, or maybe saffron in color. Mechalia champak. Understand? Very big leaves are there in champak. Mechalia champak, they may call it. I have not seen it, but it's good to have one actually. So,
Maharaj, we have that in South Africa, the orange one.
Oh, you have that, huh? Achha.
Yeah.
So if you get a stem, actually, if you come to India next time, if you can smuggle one stem, we can plant it. Because the stem will grow actually. We'll have, even you get one stick, we can try it out actually, no harm.
Okay,
very good. So Gadak Halikachara, Komalada. So there are different places, Tegri Pada and Tegri Kol. It includes the present city of Navadvip, which is called Aparadh Bhanjan Path or Kuliya. So apparently, entire Kulia or Koladip area is Aparad Bhanjan part, apparently. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes in his informative article on Kulia Dham, published in magazine Sajjan Doshni, that on earth, Shri Kulia Pahad in Navadvip is unparalleled. It's unparalleled actually. Because it is also Gupta Govardhan, hidden Govardhan. So actually, Koladip is also called Aparad Bhanjan Kulia or Kulia, the place where offences are destroyed. After taking sannyas, Sriman Mahaprabhu went to Shri Puri Dham. He travelled for some time in South India, then returned to Puri. Later he travelled again, this time to take darshan of Shri Dham Vrindavan. Thousands of people accompanied him as he passed through places such as Panihati, Kumarhatta and Kanchanapalli, until he finally arrived at Vidya Vachaspati's house in Vidyanagar. The crowds were so great that for 7 days Mahaprabhu stayed in Madhava Das's house in Kulia. While he was here, he delivered Gopal Chapal, a resident of Kulia, who was an offender to both the Vaishnavas and the holy name, and Devananda Pandit, who also offended the Vaishnavas. Gopal Chakravarti was a government tax collector who worked under Sri Hiranya and Govardhan Majumdar, the well-known residents of Saptagram. He was highly scholarly and very beautiful. Okay. Brahmanas are very, very beautiful actually, handsome. Brahman men. One day, the royal priest Balram Pandit went with Srila Haridas Thakur to the royal court of Sri Hiranya and Govardhan. Balram was the royal priest of Hiranya and Hiranya Majumdar. Srila Haridas Thakur proceeded to glorify the holy name, saying, "What to speak of uttering one pure name, the utterance of a mere semblance of the holy name, spoken to indicate something else, Sanket, jokingly parihas, disrespectfully avahela, and derisively, stova avagya or inattentively, can easily bestow liberation. Sanketyam parihasyam va stobam helaneva, vaikuntha nama grahanam asheshagram. उल्टा नाम जपत जग जाना, भय वाल्मीकि ब्रह्म समाना, जानियादि कवि नाम प्रतापो, भयो पवित्र करी उल्टा जापो." So, what to speak of saying Ram, 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 Ram? Even if someone says Mara, 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 he will be delivered. There is no problem. Even if you say the holy name of Krishna reverse order or Ram Nam reverse order, still you will be delivered. The name does not lose its power. Because you take a seed, you plant the seed upside down or the other way around, topsy-turvy, still it will sprout. So holy name is also like that. So pure chanting of the holy name awards Krishna Prem, by which one attains Vaikuntha or above that Shri Golok Dham. Haridas Thakur's statements greatly angered Gopal, who contemptuously insulted him. Liberation is attained only by Jnana. It can never be attained by Harinam. If one can attain liberation by chanting the holy name, then let my nose rot and fall off. Otherwise, if Haridas' statement is wrong, let his nose rot and fall off. A tumult broke out in the assembly. Balram Pandit said, "You have offended the exalted Vaishnava Haridas Thakur. There will never be any auspiciousness for you. You are guaranteed your own destruction due to your terrible offense to a Vaishnava." After this incident, Govardhan Das dismissed Gopal Chakravarti from his service. And although the Mahabhagavad Srila Haridas Thakur, the personification of forgiveness and tolerance, did not accept Gopal's offense, Gopal became afflicted by leprosy 3 days after the incident. Within 3 days, you see, powerful. Vaishnava is so powerful. His beautiful champak flower-like nose, his fingers and his toes rotted away. So sometimes the nose is compared to the sesame flower, especially female nose is compared to the sesame flower, and the male nose is compared maybe to the champak flower. Understand? Tila Prasuna. Tila Prasuna, I heard. Long time I have not studied Sanskrit so much, but Tila Prasuna Nasa. That is one type of Tila Prasuna Nasa means like a nose like a teal actually. So actually here, Jack Samhita, we can see here actually. Tila Prasuna Saubhagya Nasa Kalpa Latanvita Pravala Khanda Sushama Mosha Daksha. So here, the nose is compared to the tila flower actually. Nose actually for females, but for males they're like champak flowers. So he had very beautiful nose. The point I'm making is like the champak flowers. His fingers and his toes rotted away actually. Fingers and toes both. After many days, Shri Mahaprabhu came to Kuliagram and Gopal Chakravarti went to see him. Weeping, he surrendered to the supremely merciful Mahaprabhu and begged forgiveness for his Vaishnava aparadh. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu forgive this Nam Aparadhi Brahman and instructed him to continuously chant the holy name. Understand? Gopal Chakravarti did so and his leprosy soon disappeared, leaving him beautiful as before. Understand? So this is the power of the holy name. You see, the nose which had rotted away again grew back. The toes which had rotted away grew up again. And his fingers also of hands again became normal. Apparently, because of his offense, within 3 days, nothing was left. He had only stumps of the hands. But because of the chanting of the holy name and because of forgiveness and the power of that place, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's place, Holy Kolodip, Aparadh Bhanjan Part, power of that place, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy and forgiveness, he asked from Haridas Thakur. All this combined together, his fingers again became normal. Understand? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu forgave this Namaparadi Brahman and instructed him to continuously chant the holy name. Because if you have committed offense, then what you have to do? Ask forgiveness from the Vaishnavas who are offended and also repent, lament, and also chant the holy name. Namaparadi Uttanam, Namanyavaranthyagam, Tato Vishranta Pravyuktani Tanyavartakarani. So that is actually very, very important. Namaparadi Uttanam, Namanyavaranthyagam. The holy name against the offenses against the holy name will be removed by holy name itself. So Gopal Chakravarti did so and his leprosy soon disappeared, leaving him beautiful as before. Now he was Bhagwan's devotee, highly dedicated to the holy name and a servant of the Vaishnavas. So he said another resident of Navadvip named Gopal Chapal was a depraved Brahmana. He became so envious of Shiva's Pandit that he could not tolerate the Sankirtan at Shiva's house and tried to disturb him in different ways. At night, he placed at Shiva's door many items used in the worship of goddess Durga, such as a wine pot and vermilion, to show that Shiva's was only externally posing as a Vaishnava. Shiva's Pandit had then removed and purified the place by smearing it with cow dung. Cow dung is so powerful. Due to this great offense, Gopal Chapal soon became afflicted with leprosy. When after accepting sannyas, Sriman Mahaprabhu came to Kulia, Gopal Chapal came to him and falling at his feet began to weep. Mahaprabhu told him to beg forgiveness from Shiva's Pandit. He fell weeping at Shiva's Pandit's feet and by the mercy of Mahaprabhu his health returned. At that time in Navadvip, Devananda Pandit was considered a great teacher of Srimad Bhagavatam. He instructed many students in his home in Kulianagar on the Ganga's western bank. Once the Mahabhagavad Srivas Pandit passed by Devananda Pandit's house and heard Srimad Bhagavatam being recited. He went in and sat down to listen. As Devananda Pandit described Krishna's pastime, Srivas Pandit was unable to remain calm. He wept loudly and rolled on the ground. Devananda Pandit's students, who were devoid of Bhava Bhakti, could not understand Srivas Pandit's Ashtasattvic Bhavas, like tears and all. Considering him a disturbance to their studies, they threw him out of the house. Devananda Pandit remained silent, doing nothing to stop them. When news of this incident came to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he angrily said, Devananda does not understand a single letter of the Bhagavatam, which is Sri Krishna personified and completely transcendental. So what can he teach? Srimad Bhagavatam cannot even remain near him. He is an offender of both Vaishnavas and the Bhagavatam. I will tear up his false Bhagavatam and throw it away. Sometime later, Devananda Pandit made Sri Pundarik Vidyanidhi one of Sriman Mahaprabhu's associates. Vidyanidhi mercifully gave him lucid instructions on philosophical knowledge about the devotees, Bhagavatam and the scripture and the Supreme Lord. He revealed to Devananda Pandit many confidential truths about Sriman Mahaprabhu and Shivas Pandit. Remembering his previous behavior, Devananda Pandit became filled with remorse. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to Kuli after accepting sannyas, Devananda Pandit came before him and in great humility repeatedly begged forgiveness for his offense. Sriman Mahaprabhu told him to beg pardon from Shivas Pandit directly. Devananda approached Shivas Pandit, an incarnation of Naradji, the personification of mercy. Shivas forgave all his offenses and requested Mahaprabhu to show Devananda Pandit mercy. This he did and thus made him qualified to attain love of God. When the teacher Nimai Pandit was living in Sri Navadip Dham, the prominent professors and students there opposed him and ridiculed his devotional mood. For the welfare of these ignorant people bereft of bhakti, Nimai Pandit left Navadip and took sannyas. Now, having understood his glory, the teachers and students repented. When Nimai Pandit returned as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Kulianagar after accepting sannyas, they all came to Madhav Das' house to see him. Weeping, they begged forgiveness at his feet, and the supremely merciful Mahaprabhu pardoned them. From that time, they all became devotees. Because this pastime took place here, Kulyagram is known as Aparad Bhanjan Pat, the place where offenses are destroyed. Understand? So, this is actually the house of Madhav Das. Understand? So, this is the house of Madhav Das. When Mahaprabhu he was going to Vrindavan, a lot of people were accompanying him. So that time, Mahaprabhu had come here actually, and he had forgiven the devotees. So this is very, very important place because offenses they stop us from making progress. So we have to take shelter of this. Shri Devanand Gaudiya Math, Keshavji Gaudiya Math, Gurudev Samar is also located in Kolatip. We have to go there, ask forgiveness. So Gurudev is also very merciful. So you see that leprosy is incurable, but by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by the mercy of the holy name, everything is possible. Everything is possible actually. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Any other questions or comments?
Maharaj, there is a question in the box. Sorry, my phone pops up and disappears. Please, can somebody see? I'm not sure if Maharaj saw.
Is that because Haridas Thakur is Namacharya? The Brahman really lost it, so he need to go to Haridas Thakur in present to beg forgiveness. And pastimes mainly teach the power and faith of holy name and the glory of remove offense of holy name. Yes, actually, we have to ask forgiveness from the same Vaishnava we offended. Understand? If that Vaishnava doesn't forgive us, then Bhagavan also cannot forgive us. So generally Vaishnavas don't take offenses, but their foot dust will not forgive you. So that's why Devananda Pandit approached Shivas Pandit and then he was forgiven. Understand? So generally speaking, devotee, if you offend a devotee, even Bhagavan cannot forgive. Like for example, Durvasa Muni offended Ambarish Maharaj, but could Narayan forgive him? No. Narayan could not forgive him. He had to again go back to Ambarish Maharaj and ask forgiveness. Generally, the principle is that as much as possible, we should try to approach the same devotee who we offended. And if he has left the world, then we have to ask forgiveness from Bhagavan. What else can we do? Understand? So today is also, I think, the disappearance day of Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj. Srila Bharati Goswami Maharaj was a great Vaishnava, actually, no doubt about it. Here you can see that 9th September, Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj Tirobhav. And he was actually, he has written very nice books about the Vaishnavas. His classes also I heard in Hindi language, Bengali, English. He used to speak very eloquently. And very fair in color. He was born in Brahmin family. And when he joined the Gaudiya Math, it was very little difficult for him to adjust because in Gaudiya Math we don't observe any caste and creed, understand? And because he had samskaras that he was from a Brahmin family, he was it was difficult for him to adjust. But Srila Bhakti Daita Madhav Goswami Maharaj, his spiritual master, also born in Brahmin family, gradually trained him up not to worry about the birth of an Vaishnava, but rather all the Vaishnavas are equal. As far as Bhakti is concerned, there is if there is any gradation in the Vaishnavas, that is not based on their birth, but rather based on the practice of devotional service they are doing. Means they may be Kanishta, Madhyam, or Uttam Adhikari. We have to respect as per their levels, as Rupa Goswami has told in Upadeshamrita, but not based on birth. Understand? So then Srila Bhakti began Bharati Goswami Maharaj, always very respectful to all the Vaishnavas. Especially he had great attitude of service. He has served Srila Bhakti, Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj also, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Goswami Maharaj. Our Gurudev also he served. Once Srila Gurudev was going to come to Puri, Jagannath Puri, and Srila Bharati Maharaj had a ticket the next day, but he wanted to, where will Gurudev stay? Because that time much did not have extra rooms. So he came by unreserved compartment. Although he had a reservation in the train, Indian unreserved compartment is, very, very painful to be traveled unreserved in India. It's so jam-packed actually. Sometimes I do have to travel in this unreserved compartment in India, and everything goes on there actually. Understand? Some people are smoking and this and that, and Indian trains previously used to be very jam-packed. Now it has improved a little bit. I'll show you a picture of unreserved compartment out here. This is how the unreserved compartment looks like actually. There are people everywhere. They're everywhere. Above, below, everywhere. So even Bharati Maharaj, he traveled by unreserved compartment. I hope it was not that jam-packed which I showed in the picture here. And he came to Puri and he cleaned his own room and made some space for Gurudev to stay. And he didn't even tell Gurudev that I came by unreserved compartment just for you. Understand? But he wrote in the book like that. So that is his attitude. He wants to serve the Vaishnavas, facilitate. They should be comfortable. Because and also he used to speak very deep tattva actually. It's simple language but very deep tattva. So after Srila Gurudev disappeared, many Vaishnavas, Shamrani Didi, Shripad Bhaktivedanta Nemi Maharaj, and so many Madhav Priya Prabhu, they took his shelter and Shripad Dandi Maharaj also, I remember, once arranged his program in Panduranga Vitthal temple. That time in city we had no place to do programs. Now Gopinath Bhavan is there, but so we used to go to the Panduranga Vitthal temple, and there we used to have Sunday programs. Devotees used to cook the prasadam there, Yashoda Mataji and other Kanta Mataji. They used to go early and cook prasadam there, and good programs were going on. But now that management turned down our request of holding programs there. So we have Gopinath Bhavan now. We can have programs there. But once we invited Srila Bharati Maharaj there actually. And remember, he spoke about Dhruva Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, and many of his lectures are available on net. Website is vishuddhachaitanyavani.com. They also have a WhatsApp group, and regular notifications come. And now they are publishing autobiography of Srila Bharati Maharaj actually. Autobiography of him is coming. So that is also very nice actually. Small incidences, but teaching something actually. So we offer Shraddha Pushpanjali at his lotus feet that please increase our devotion and for Guru Vaishnavas and give us the same attitude he had for service to the Vaishnavas. We must try to pray to the Vaishnavas, elevated Vaishnavas. They can help us so much. So very auspicious day, and tomorrow again is the Vishwarup Mahotsav. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's elder brother disappeared, I think. And Purnima, and tomorrow we are going to shave, so the jungle will be gone. And also, tomorrow is the day when Itila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtottar Shrimad Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj took sannyas from Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj. And Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj took sannyas from Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj. So you see that Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj was a great Vaishnava, and he was also born in Brahmin family. His name was Ramananda. And he was also a dear friend of Srila Gurudev, Srila Param Gurudev, and also Srila Bhakti Prabhu Puri Goswami Maharaj. You can see here. He bestowed sannyas on Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj. Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj was already told many times in a dream and in reality also to take sannyas, but managers of the mud, Kunj Bihari Prabhu and others were very skeptical. If Vinod Bihari Prabhu will take sannyas, who will manage the mud? So as a result, he could not get direct sannyas from Prabhupada, but he actually took sannyas in one sense from Prabhupada because he protected Prabhupada by accepting his saffron robes and sannyas clothes and saving Prabhupada's life when their Parikrama party was attacked at Koladvipa. Understand? Means at the Praudhamatala, Praudhamaya Mandir. But anyway, Prabhupada used to come in his dream and again tell him to take sannyas. So he took sannyas at Katwa. Katwa is the place where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also took sannyas. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas from Shri Keshav Bharati. So there is if you go to Katwa, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas there actually. So that same place he took sannyas on Vishwarup Mahotsav day. And Srila Bhakti's Vedanta Swami Maharaj also. He also took sannyas on the same day in Keshavji Gaudiya Math. And you can see a very famous picture out here. There's a picture here in the middle. You can see Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj sitting. On the left side of Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj, and right side is Shri Sanatan Prabhu, Shri Bhakti Vedanta Muni Maharaj. Bhaktivedanta Muni Maharaj lived 100 years. And till last day he had 32 teeth in his mouth. He was very healthy. And Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, he went to the Western world and created a revolution actually. Amazing. So you'll see that he got that transcendental empowerment from Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj. Sannyas means actually empowerment. I don't think that it is an ordinary affair. Sannyas is very, very important. Understand? So you'll see that Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, he is standing with that danda in his hand. And this is a famous picture. And this danda was given to him by Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami. This danda was made by Srila Gurudev, our own Guru Maharaj, by his own hands. Understand? Because our Gurudev made it by his own hands. And also assisted Swami Maharaj wearing the saffron clothes of sannyasi, teaching him how to tie kaupin and, uttariya and all. And also fire sacrifice. Fire sacrifice also. So in 1959, he took sannyas. He accepted sannyas in 1959. Understand? So very auspicious day tomorrow also. Today is also Ananta Chaturdashi. Ananta Chaturdashi is the day of... and this is actually the place where Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj took sannyas. This is the old Keshavji Gaudiya Math. This is the old structure actually. But now this structure is demolished and new structure is coming up. But this was the original structure. But it was... so Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj actually... I was reading actually, it's called Desire Tree. Mentions about this sannyas. and from they have mentioned, I think, from Satsarup Maharaj's book actually about this, and Srila Gurudev's name also comes in the biography. That Srila Gurudev was chanting the Mahamantra Kirtan, and Krishna's Babaji Maharaj also chanting Mahamantra Kirtan when Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj took sannyas. Understand? So, Prabhupada Lilamrut, page number 225 to 231, explains how at Keshaji Gaudiya Math he took sannyas. So, Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Today a little late. Vanchakalpataruvesha Krupa Sindhuveja Paritanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo.
Thank you so much, Ma, for explaining to us.
Dhanavats. Hare Krishna. Vaishnavibhyo. Dhanavats.
Vaishnavibhyo. Ananga Mohan Prabhu Jaidwani, please. Sorry, any more other questions?
Anyone has any questions?
No, Maharaj. Thank you,
All
Hare
right.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Dhanavats.
Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Radha Vinoda Bihari Ji Ki Jai. Om Vishnu Parastotara Shata Shri Shri Marabhakti Vedanta Vishnu Deiti Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Vishnu Parastotara Shata Shri Shri Marabhakti Vedanta Dandi Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Veeda Pravishta Om Vishnu Parastotara Shata Shri Shri Marabhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Veeda Pravishta Om Vishnu Parastotara Shata Shri Shri Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Veeda Pravishta Om Vishnu Parastotara Shata Shri Shri Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Ki Jai. Veeda Pravishta Om Vishnu Parastotara Shata Shri Shri Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Veeda Pravishta Om Vishnu Parastotara Shata Shri Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Veeda Pravishta Rama Bhagavat Pravara Shri Srila Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitya Leela Pravishta Shri Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Nitya Leela Pravishta Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Shri Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Vedanta Acharya Shri Srila Baladev Vidyabhushana Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai. Srila Narotam Srinivas Shyamananda Prabhutraya Ki Jai. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhat Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Bhat Das Raghunath Sat Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Nityarupa Damodar Raya Ramanandari Shri Gaura Prasad Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Mayapur Simant Dweep Godrumadweep Madhyadweep Koladweep Ritudweep Janudweep Moda Drumadweep Rudadweep Patmaka Shri Navadipadam Ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Govardhan द्वादश वनात्मका श्री ब्रजमंडल की जय। श्री राध कुंड श्याम कुंड गंगा यमुना तुलसी भक्ति देव की जय।
जय
श्री
जय
भक्तिवृंद देव की जय। श्री
जय
पौर्णमासी माय की जय। श्री गोपीश्वर महादेव की जय। श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्र सुदर्शन चक्र जीव की जय।
जय
श्री क्षेत्र मंडल की जय। सर्व विघ्न विनाशकारी श्री नरसिंहदेव की जय।
जय
भक्त
जय
श्री प्रहलाद महाराज की जय।
जय
चार धाम की जय। चार संप्रदाय की जय। चार चार की जय। अकर्मत राज श्री चैतन्य मात की जय।
जय जय
श्री
जय
श्री केशव जी गौड़ियमान ओ तत्सकमात सा मुहा की जय।
जय
ग्रंथराज श्रीमद भागवतम की जय। श्री चैतन्य चरित अमृत की जय। श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। सामगाद भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंद हरि
हरे हरि हरि बोल। जय हनुमान प्रभु की जय। समस्त वैष्णव वृंद की जय। Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Maharaj, for attending and for always giving us your time. And thank you, dear devotees, for joining us today. And we'll see you all tomorrow for Shripad Bhakti Vedanta Dandi Maharaj's class. Hare Krishna. Vanshakapachuruvasya.
Krishna Kripa.
Kripasindhi Vacha. Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavi Namo Vaishnavi Namo Vaishnavi.
Dandavat. Hare
Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam. See you all tomorrow. Hare.
Dandavat.